Welcome back to the channel. We are back out in the gun room again today for another Optic review. So huge shout out to me for providing this scope for the review. So no one sent this out. This was totally funded by the channel. And in my undying, ever continuing goal to bring you guys, some of the best, most budget friendly and high value accessories and firearms, kind of led me to this one. This is the SIG TANGO-SPR 6-24 by 52. So this thing actually ships in the box with a mount, and pretty cool on them. They did include the torque specs on the top cap screws and the cross bolt screws. So I really like that addition. It's just nice. You take the second guessing out of it. You don't have to question, do I set it at 20? Do I set it at 25? You know exactly what the recommended specs are. So that way you don't damage your scope right out of the box. So I really like that touch. They hit a lot of bullet points with this scope. Just initial impressions out of the box. You do get 2 scope caps. They seem to be okay as far as scope caps go. They seem to work. It does include a integrated throw lever. Magnification ring is pretty tight, but is also very smooth. No grittiness, so I like that a lot. Does have exposed elevation target turret, so I like that. The windage turret is, however, capped, so definitely could be good for your hunting situations. Again, this is a 6-24 power scope, so you could use it for a lot of different scenarios. But real quick, while we got the scope up here, let's see what these turrets sound like. Now, for me, the way I test out to see basically how good a turret system is, check out these lines. Are we going to see any movement before we hear a click? So let's listen. And if you notice, see the turret moving but no click. And for the price point, that's about what I would expect. That doesn't really surprise me. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's definitely noticeable. Now, let's take a look at the elevation. Get this thing to focus in. The windage turret actually feels and sounds better than the elevation. That's very, very weird. Can you all tell the difference? That's very odd, but okay. Insignia on the side here with their logo. Now let's take and get a weight. Oh, let me put that back on. The overall package here. So again, this is a larger scope. It's not overly huge. It does employ 30mm tube. You do have a 56mm or 52mm objective. So let's see here. Get this thing zeroed. You're looking at 2 pounds, about 2 pounds, 1.2 ounces, so about 2 pounds. Not overly ridiculous for the magnification range, but with something like this, it's got to be able to hold 0, so we want that, and it's got to be able to track since they're touting it as an SPR style scope. But let's get this thing back to the hide. I want to get it mounted into the jig and see if this thing is going to track on one of the tracking targets, and then we'll get some final thoughts. Okay guys, so we've got our scope mounted in our test jig here. Did want to point out, this does include a 0-stop locking collar, so you do have that if you need it. But let me go ahead and get this scope turret back on. We got this thing zeroed. Snug that up real quick. Now let's go ahead and adjust our windage turret. Let's go to the left 5 MOA and see where we fall. Okay, that is 5. And if you notice those 3 lines there, we should be right in about the middle. That is the MOA designation. So that's pretty close. It's pretty close. It's not terrible. Let's go ahead and go to the right 5. There is right 5. And actually that one's pretty well on. That one's not too bad. Go ahead and re-zero that. And let's start our elevation drop. So if you notice there where it's zeroed, my paper's kind of curling down there on my target holder. That target holder isn't strong enough to really hold this big zeroing target. It's kind of flopping, but it'll definitely get us where we need to be. So first one up, let's go to 5 MOA. You guys can follow along there. So that is 5, and honestly, that's pretty darn good. That's not bad. We should be right in the middle, and that's where that is showing, right in the middle. So let's go ahead and jump to 10. 10, right in the middle again, hit that. Let's go ahead and jump to 15. Oops, went too far. There's 15, right on the money again. And let's hit 20, right on the money again. And finally, let's see if we can hit 25. 25. And yeah, right in the middle, I tell you. Let's take it back up to 0. Guys, actually, that's really good. Man, that's not bad. This may be the best budget scope I have had out on the channel to date. And yeah, back up to 0. Man, that is not bad at all, guys. Let's, I want to go ahead and get this thing mounted on a rifle. I'm going to take some shots. I'm not going to bore you all with that, but get it mounted because I do want to get some still shot photos through the scope. The scope camera really doesn't do the resolution justice, but I'm here to tell you at 24 power, it is pretty darn clear. So let me get this thing mounted. I'm going to get some pictures for you guys. And all right, so what do we think about... Okay, so let me roll in some of those still shots for you guys, outlining kind of like the field of view at a few different power ranges here. So first one off, I'm going to let you guys take a look at 6 power at 110 yards, and it is crystal clear. And the one thing that I always try to look for whenever I'm looking at scopes, trying to determine, especially budget scopes, is there any image spillage on the area, on the edges? Do we have any darkening? Do we have any fisheyeing or anything like that? And I noticed none of that with this SIG SPR. So next up, I am going to show you 12 power at 110. Same thing with that. Absolutely great image, and we're still pretty low light. It's fairly early in the morning here at the hide, so the sun is not over top of me. It's actually a little bit behind me, so downrange it's kind of dim, but there is plenty of light coming through. And then finally, I'm going to show you 210 yards at 24 power. And, you know, kind of as you would expect, I do have a little bit of spillage in the upper left-hand portion, but honestly, as I started looking at the pictures, I think that may be just the sun from behind me. I don't think that's actually the image. I'll let you guys kind of be the judge of that. But nonetheless, the edges are absolutely crystal clear. So what do we got to think about our SIG SPR? Again, this is the 6-24 by 52. Now this one here, I do like a lot of what it has going for it, but it's not perfect. The top turret, the elevation turret, it is spongy. However, I'll be honest with you, I absolutely did not expect this thing to hit the tracking as well as it did. Honestly, guys, if you watch that, that's pretty remarkable for the price point of this scope. I cannot tell you the price in the video or I'll get demonetized thanks to YouTube, but I will have all the information down below. Now, one other thing, I do not like the reticle. The reticle pretty much sucks, I'm not gonna lie. The reticle is too thick. I like the old lady thick, but my reticles not so much. I like them thin. With that being said, is it usable? Yes, it is. But if you're looking for real precision type of reticle, this is definitely not it. The bottom 2 hash marks on the reticle itself, the reticle is so thick, the line, you can barely make out the last 2 hash marks. So that kind of sucks. SIG needs to do something with that. If they would fix this reticle, this thing would be absolutely awesome. And still, even with that downfall, it's pretty dang sweet for the price. This very well could be probably the best budget optic I have had out to the channel in terms of quality. I've got it mounted to my 30-06 that I've put about 30 rounds through after sighting it in, still holding 0. Now granted, will it hold 0 a year from now? I don't know. I venture to say it probably will, but we'll definitely take a circle around back to this probably in about 6 to 10 months or so and see how it's holding up. But initial thoughts, this thing is a total buy. But if you got any questions on this, please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you all think in the comments. Head on over to our campsite page. We've got a lot of deals and stuff. I'll have information on this, along with all the other goodies that we take a look at here at the Hide. And as always, shoot straight. Later.